Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am from Lahore, Pakistan, and I teach IELTS here. I teach IELTS in Lahore, and apart from this I teach IELTS all over the world through WhatsApp, through Skype. I've got my online classes as well. Now in part 3, if you haven't seen part 1 and 2 videos, please go back and watch those 2 valuable videos, and now in part 3 I'm going to tell you further about that. And if you have already watched my part 1 and part 2 videos of IELTS speaking, thank you very much for watching my videos, and those who comment on my videos, I really salute you like this and this. Thanks a lot. You know, when you comment, then I get to know who you are. I mean, there are some people who comment regularly on my videos. I've got some people from India, some from Pakistan. They comment on my videos and they're very happy. They write my first comment. I got this guy Safraz, he comments, and then there's another one, I don't remember the name. If you comment, please write it down. It's me who comment first and all that, right? So thank you very much for commenting the videos, and then I get to know this is real. It's real, like I'm a teacher, I'm an IELTS trainer, you are my students, and we are learning together. So please comment, and I want to see your photo as well. Okay, I love your comment too. Part 3 is called discussion. What happens here, examiner is going to ask you some more questions and you are going to answer, and these are basically the extended questions which are related to the topic that was given in part 2. So in part 3 they are going to ask you more questions which are related to the topic of part 2, right? Now here they are going to ask you long questions, and in part 3 the common problem sometimes is understanding of the question. Many students come across this thing. The examiner is asking the question, it gets lengthy, and at the end you are lost, you are blank, you don't know what the question was, and you say, I beg your pardon, excuse me, and then they repeat the question. So I'll tell you about that as well, don't worry. Questions are going to be long, and sometimes because we don't understand the question, that's why we don't know what to say. What appropriate answer are we going to give for this question? And we get into trap. And remember, it's actually part 3 where examiner is going to decide a higher band for you. Band score 7, 8, 9. These 3 bands are actually decided in part 3. If your answers are not satisfactory in part 3, then 6 band is waiting for you, 5 band is waiting for you. But if your answers are fantastic in part 3, your answers are wonderful, then a good band is waiting for you in part 3, and overall band score is going to improve just because of that. It's basically, you know, step 1, part 1 is the basic one, then part 2, and then finally part 3. Task guide. Now I'm going to guide you about the task, and task is part 3, discussion. In this part of the speaking module, the examiner will ask you a series of questions. Examiner is going to ask you a series of questions related to the general topic of your long turn in part 2. Topic is long turn part 2 means mini presentation. Now they're going to ask you questions. These are the extended questions from the same topic which was given in part 2. So these questions will be more demanding than the questions in part 1. See, some people are more demanding and some questions are more demanding. You need to give a full length answer. So these questions will be more demanding than the questions in part 1. They will require you to give opinions rather than simply explain facts. In part 1, you are going to explain the facts simply. In part 3, you are going to actually give your opinion. You're going to compare 2 things. You're going to find the contrast. You're going to talk about past. You're going to talk about present. You're going to compare past and present. You're going to compare present with future. You're going to forecast about something and all that stuff. So you got to be ready for that, okay? Yeah, speaking part 3, I told you, and there you get the higher bands if you perform well here. The questions will not test your general knowledge. Don't worry about that, okay? So there isn't any question of general knowledge. You don't need to prepare on general knowledge. But the way you express your ideas in English, they are actually going to test that. It is important to give more than yes or no answers in part 3. It is also important to give more than yes no answers in part 1. Okay, I told you that already. So this is basically task guide, and I hope you would have understood by now what is basically the task and the guidelines about the task. Step-by-step guide. Once again, here I am with step-by-step guide, and now I'm going to guide you about IELTS speaking part 3, which is called discussion. What do we call it? Discussion. Okay. Step 1. Take the right approach. For speaking part 3, take the right approach, and I'm going to tell you what is the right approach. I told you the right approach for speaking part 1, speaking part 2, and now I'm going to tell you the right approach for speaking part 3. The questions in this part of the test are designed to allow you to show that you can discuss things in English. Got it? So all the questions which they're going to ask you in speaking part 3, basically the questions in this part of the test are designed to allow you to show that you can discuss things in English. Okay? Yes. Part 1 and 2 focus on your own life and experiences. Right? In part 1, part 2, it focuses your own life experiences, likes, dislikes, blah blah blah, and all that stuff. Part 3 encourages you to show you can express ideas that go beyond personal details. Now in part 3 there isn't any personal detail. Now in part 3 actually there are certain ideas that go beyond personal details, so you gotta be ready for that. Okay, now in part 3 they will not ask you your favorite color and your time pass and your leisure activity and shopping mall and all that. Okay, yes. The examiners assess your language abilities, not your opinions. So examiner will not assess your opinion, but they will assess your language ability. Express your opinion freely and try to offer as much information on the topic as you can. In part 3, try to offer as much information as you can, and they are going to judge you on the basis of your English, not on your opinions. Okay, yes, that's right. Step 2. What should I say? Say whatever you want to say. No. Don't say whatever you want to say. I know sometimes when Punjabi people are angry, what do they say? I know that. So step 2, what should I say? In most of your answers to the examiner's questions, you will be expressing an opinion and giving some kind of interpretation. Either you'll be expressing your opinion or giving some kind of interpretation how things should be, what happens. You're going to interpret certain things. In a minute I'll tell you all these questions, don't worry about that. You will not be stating simple facts. Remember, you will not be stating simple facts actually. You should try to introduce what you say with appropriate phrases for the kind of answer you give. Whatever kind of answer you're going to give, you should use appropriate phrases for that. Language chunks. Those who have watched my previous videos about essay writing, they know what the chunks are. They know what the language chunks are. And if you have not seen my videos on essay writing, go ahead and watch them. All the videos are in the playlist. Instead of going to the videos of the channel, I would appreciate if you go to the playlist. In the playlist, all the videos are, separate. They are properly in order. Essay writing videos are separate, report writing videos are separate, speaking videos are separate. So you should go to this channel through playlist. That's even better for you. Okay, now let's go on with some questions and we see what sort of answer is going to be appropriate for that. Part 3, example questions. There's a question. What kinds of social events are most popular in your country? What kinds of social events are most popular in your country? See, such a long answer. And part 1, what's your favorite leisure activity? What's your favorite color? How much time do you spend with your family? Like that. In part 3, what kinds of social events are most popular in your country? Now you got to think about your country. You got to think about some social events and you can talk about 1 or 2. Don't give a lot of detail without explanation. right? Talk about one or two things with proper explanation. So if they're talking about social events, you should know what are the social events, what sort of events are called social events, and then you can talk. A social event is the event where people get together, like for example it can be Christmas, for Muslims it can be Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Azha, for India, for Hindus it can be Holi, and we've got the Baisakhi for Sikh people as well, right? So there are certain things like that, and you can always talk about that. In Bangladesh also you can talk about Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Azha. In Nepal, I don't know, maybe in Nepal also you got Holi and all that. I receive a lot of messages from there as well, okay? So you can talk about your social, and don't take too much time to decide social events. Do I need to talk about social events? Let me think. All right. And you know, when you think, there are two things. One thing, what social event should I talk about? Second, oh, there are so many social events. What should I talk about? Right? So talk about anything, and then you got to prove it as a social event, and you got to answer the question, what kinds of social events are most popular? Now you need to talk about the popular social events, and throughout your answer you will use the words like it is very popular, it is very famous, it is people like this event very much, people celebrate this event excitedly and enthusiastically and all that. Throughout your answer you got to give the reference of social event that is actually popular in your country. You'll talk about popularity of this event throughout your answer. Got it? Okay, well done. Let's go on. The next question is, what are the differences between the social events that older and younger people enjoy? Now, what are the differences between social events that older and younger people enjoy? Now, you can say the religious festivals, the religious social events, they are enjoyed by the older people, by the old people. They enjoy those incidents, those social events quite a lot. On the other hand, then whatever you want to say about the new generation, about young people. So you will talk about the differences between the social events. Now, see, question is long. What are the differences between the social events that older and younger people enjoy? And at the end of the question you say, When you say at the end of the question, it means you didn't understand the question. Then you ask again. So remember, when examiner is asking you the question, look at the face of the examiner and focus on every sentence and visualize and repeat. But when you repeat, don't move your lips. Do not move your lips. Now, for example, the question is, what are the differences between the social events that older and younger people enjoy? Now, you got to imagine, okay, what are the differences between the social events that older and younger people enjoy? As the examiner asks the question, within your heart, you got to repeat it, and you need to see what is the question within the question, and then you can answer easily. Otherwise, you say, what's the question? And then they will repeat, and a couple of times when they're going to repeat the question, you'll be confused and you're going to miss a question. In speaking part 3, if you miss a question, you miss a band. That's too much, okay, not a band, but maybe. In part 3, if you miss a question, you miss a band, so don't miss a question. I mean, that is going to be 1 band. You know the value of 1 band? 1 band after 6 makes it 7. And if you require 8,777, after 7, 1 band is going to make it 8, and then 777. So 1 band is very, very, very important. Ask people who have appeared in IELTS 10 times, 12 times, and they are appearing in IELTS again and again just for 1 band. 1 band, okay, 1 band, please, 1 band, Cambridge, give me. Okay, all right. So 1 band is important, and 1 answer, missing 1 question might cause you 1 band, might cost you even 1 band. Okay, let's go on. Next question is, do you think it is a good idea for colleagues at work to spend time socially together? Now, colleagues at work, do you think it's a good idea that if you are working in the office, other people they are working, and then you are celebrating a social event together? So do you think it's a good idea? You got to give your opinion. Say, oh yes, I think it's a wonderful idea to celebrate social events with your colleagues because, and then you got to come up with some reasons. Next, what changes have there been recently in social life in your country? Social life means the life of the people. If you're living in a neighborhood, your life with your neighbors, your life with your friends, your life with your other people, that is what we call social life related to society. So what changes have there been recently? What changes have there been recently in social life in your country? And you can answer this question as well. Would you agree that technology can have negative effects on the way people spend their leisure time? Such a long question. I told you in part 3, they always do that. Right? So you got to think, would you agree that technology can have negative effects on the way people spend their leisure time? Bottom line is, whether you agree or not, the negative effects of technology on people, how they spend their free time. So you got to pick up the question from examiner's mouth. The examiner is asking, words are long, sentences are long, lengthy sentence. So you got to pick up the question from examiner's mouth, and that is only possible if you look at the examiner carefully, and then you know, yes, this is, I need to understand what examiner is saying. And don't worry, if you don't understand question in part 3, just ask them, excuse me, I don't understand, I beg your pardon. They will repeat the question for you, and there is no penalty for that. If you do it a couple of times, then there is no penalty, but if you do it time and again, then there can be penalty as well. So that's all about IELTS speaking part 3. I've got some other videos, some specimen videos where I have conducted full speaking test. You can watch those videos as well. They will also help you. You got to follow all the instructions of speaking part 1, part 2 and part 3. And part 3 is very, very important for those who are planning to get 8 bands, or those who are planning to get 7, 8 or 9 bands. For them, speaking part 3 is the most important. You need to pay special attention to speaking part 3. If you like this video, go ahead and hit on the like button, and don't forget to subscribe my channel and turn on the notification. Whenever I upload a new video, you will be notified about that. And don't forget to comment as well, right? Because if you comment, then I get to know who you are, where you're from, and as long as you love me, there is a popular song as well. You can share these videos as well if you want to. I also teach IELTS online. If anybody wants to join my online IELTS classes, you can join me on Skype or WhatsApp, and I charge fee for that. Asad Yaqub wishes you all the best. Take care. Allah Hafiz.